Hey guys, welcome back. Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to continue my video series where I am ranking all of Doctor Who, all of Doctor Who being all of the TV series and some of the expanded material, Big Finish audios, short stories, and some fan projects as well that I liked and thought deserved to be on this list. We're in the top half now. There are 426 entries on this list. And today we're going to be talking about number 200 through 176. So we are in the top half of the list. We do have some good stuff. We've got the worst of the worst far down out of the way at this point. So, got Matt Smith's Sonic out today. By the way, if anyone ever wants to send a Sonic screwdriver, I need the Peter Capaldi one and a John Pertwee one. That'd be great, thanks. I feel like the manager from Office Space. Yeah, if you'd get right on that thing. I feel silly today. It's the weekend. I'm relaxed. Even though I did have to work a little bit early this morning, I'm relaxed. But yeah, I'd love to get that 12th Doctor Sonic, the other one, the second one he gets. As much as I like this one, if anyone wants to send that. But we're gonna start at number 200 on the list. And that is Spyfall. Of course, part 1 and part 2. I like Spyfall. I know a lot of people probably don't like a Whittaker story being this high on the list. But I enjoy Spyfall. Especially for a series opener, a season opener. I feel like it does a good job. It's full of energy. There's stuff happening. There's action, action, action. There's a good mystery to it at what's going on. Has a James Bond feel to it. It really hits the ground running. Gets you excited for the season. Now, this is another one of those modern Doctor Who two-parters where part 2 definitely doesn't live up to part 1. I still like part 2. It's good, but part 1 is great. They wouldn't be in the same tier. If I put part 1 in A tier, part 2 would be in B tier. But I like it. I feel like Jodie Whittaker is very good in this one. I like Sacha Dhawan when he's playing O, and when we get the revelation, of course, at him being the Spy Master, or whatever version of his master you want to call him. I think Sacha Dhawan plays both versions of that well when he's in disguise and when he's actually him. I love that cliffhanger reveal at the end. I know it's been done better in Utopia, but I still think it's done really well here. Especially the Wizard of Oz reference. If you get it, maybe. I don't know. I actually really enjoyed that. I like the set pieces, the location work. What does he say? Worst Uber ever or worst pickup ever, whatever he says. It's hilarious when Graham says that. I like that we got Stephen Fry in a small little role. That was pretty cool. I could have done without the Doctor is a man. I've upgraded. I could have done without that. That was a little eye-rolling. But the rest of it I liked. I wish we had actually met O in the previous season, so that would have been set up better. Instead of them trying to convince us that the Doctor knew him from years back. I would have liked to have seen an episode with him before. I would have liked that. I would have set that up a little better. I do love going back and watching the scene when Stephen Fry gets shot and he's like, oh. I wonder if he's actually saying O's name because he knows O did it instead of just surprised like, oh. If he's actually going, oh, it's O. I always wonder that looking back at that now. I kind of hate that the beings of light, that never really goes anywhere. They're stopped kind of easily. It never really goes anywhere. I do like the fact the Master got stuck in World War II and had to take the long way around. He's holding a bit of a grudge about it. That's pretty interesting. And I liked meeting a couple of the historical figures, like the woman who fought in World War II, a real person. The woman that's connected with the computers, real person. That was fascinating to learn about, and I did go and do research on them and look them up. The one from World War II, she actually was executed as a spy or a traitor or something like that. About a year or two after this takes place in that episode. They did catch her eventually, sadly. But it does have this kind of epic feel to it with a really good cliffhanger to part 1. I don't really care about the ending with the Time Lords dying again. I think that's stupid. And that the Master did it. How? I just think that's dumb. I like the Time Lords being back. So that's really my one sore spot with the episode. And other than that, it's very action-oriented and started the season off well. Next on the list is the 10th Planet. I would have the 10th Planet higher because I love the first 2 parts, but the last 2 parts both have issues. Part 3 suffers because obviously William Hartnell got sick and he's not there. And it's just one of those times where it really stands out. He's not there. I do like one of the other scientists kind of getting more dialogue. The one that wears the glasses, the actor playing him is good. Ben gets a little more to do. And then, of course, it kind of sucks that episode 4 is missing. Now, Planet 55's animation is very good. Those old-style animations are some of the best. I love Planet 55's work. And they do a really good job animating this episode. But it's just frustrating that such an important episode is missing. It's nice we have the footage we have of it, like the regeneration. But it just is, excuse me, frustrating that episode is missing when it's so important to Doctor Who, with it being William Hartnell's final episode, and that does pull it down a little bit. Now, neither one of those things are the production crew's fault. They can't help that Hartnell got sick, and they can't help that later episode 4 got lost. But it does pull my enjoyment of the episode down a bit, which is a shame because I love the first 2 parts, and it just kind of ends up here. Next on the list is The Paradise of Death. This, of course, is one of the audios from the 90s. I still haven't listened to, was it Ghost of In Space? I still need to listen to that. But I liked Paradise of Death for multiple reasons. One, it's got Peter Miles in it. You guys know Prowl loves me some Peter Miles. So I'm excited to have Peter Miles back for more Doctor Who. Just recently saw him in an episode of Blake 7 as well, which I loved. But it's just nice to get the whole cast back together again. That, and I have a third Doctor audio, and it's actually John. Because John loved being the Doctor. You know, John always enjoyed a chance to come back and be the Doctor again, whether it was on stage, whether it was on audio. He really loved this character and playing this character. And so I'm sure it was great for him to do this audio and get to be the Doctor again. It was great to have Elizabeth Sladen back. I believe Nicholas Courtney's back. It's just great to have all of these original actors who are gone now back for another Doctor Who adventure. And I enjoyed the story itself, with tents and circuses and going to another planet and things, crazy things happening on the other planet, and Peter Miles' character can take his mask off. It is definitely dark in places and out there. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun to listen to. Next on the list is the Sontaran Experiment, which is the first appearance of the legendary Season 12 on the list, Tom Baker's first season. I like Sontaran Experiment. It's a great two-parter that knows it only needs to be a two-parter. Great location work. Again, this is one of those rare times pre-season 23 when the location work was shot on videotape, the outside video broadcasting things. So it's always going to look standard definition, but it still looks good. I enjoy the scenery. The location work still looks nice. The fight between the Doctor and the Sontaran at the end is a little rough, but knowing the behind-the-scenes problems, Tom Baker famously did break his collarbone here, so it was his stunt double. I wonder if that was Terry Walsh being his stunt double in this one. That's having to do some of the fight scenes when you can't see the Doctor. And then even when they insert shots of the Doctor, you can tell he's got that left arm kind of covered up because it's in a sling. And, you know, knowing that, it makes that final fight scene look not the best choreographed in the world, unfortunately. But I still like it. I still like having the Sontarans back. It's still not as good as the Time Warrior, and I'd argue even not as good as War of the Sontarans, which is also higher on the list. But, and at 4 parts, it probably would have been a lot lower. But at 2 parts, it's still very enjoyable. It's nice to see Harry get to use the Sonic. And I like the way they reversed the polarity, I guess, to defeat the Sontaran as well. Next on the list is The Girl Who Waited, a great Series 6 story. I haven't gone back and watched it in a while, but this is just a good story. I don't know who actually wrote this one, but I like the setup, where the Doctor and Rory get separated from Amy. The Doctor finds out there's a pathogen there that's dangerous to Time Lords. So basically the Doctor, this is another one of those stories where the Doctor can only help by audio. He's trapped in the TARDIS, basically. He has to just help on audio. Kind of similar to Hudson Media's The Amalgamation Factor, where the Doctor's not there. He can only help by speaking on audio because he's in the TARDIS, he's not there. So you kind of have that here as well. So it's really up to Rory, who is stuck with future Amy, the older Amy, and then present Amy, which is in a different time frame. and them having to figure out how to sort the this mess out, because Rory ends up with the timing off, and he's with an older Amy. I can't remember how old she's supposed to be here, but she's much older, and the aged makeup on her looks done really well. And it's really, she portrays both Amy's really well. And then it's got a very heartbreaking ending. Very heartbreaking ending. You really feel for everybody involved. And it's definitely one of those times where, you know, traveling with a doctor isn't always fun and games. Next on the list is Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. I like this two-parter. I like the idea of a Cyberman story that turns into a Dalek story. And then for the first time, we get to see the Daleks and the Cybermen fight, and you find out just how more powerful the Daleks are when they totally wax them. I love the cliffhanger reveal of it being the Cybermen. That's pretty cool. You know, when you find out the Cybermen are taking over, it's a victory. But then you have the Daleks show up at the end. You know, this is when you find the sphere open and you see the Daleks come out, the Cult of Skaro. You don't really expect that. I love, and will forever love the smackdown talk between the Cybermen and the Daleks. I love, identify, you will identify first, you will identify, Daleks do not, you are identified as Daleks. That whole conversation is hilarious. The smack talk. How many of you, there are like 500,000 of us. How many are you? 4. You would defeat 500 of us with 4 Daleks. We would defeat 500,000 of you with 1 Dalek. You're only better at one thing. What's that? You're better at dying. You go, Dalek sect. That's a burn right there. That burn was so bad that even the Batman villain Two-Face would be going, damn! I think it's a good way to bring Mickey back. Again, good cliffhanger. I like the woman who's kind of in charge of Torchwood. She plays that character really well, and she still has her little heroic moment at the end. Tennant is really on the ball here. I do love the separation scene when they get separated, and they're both at the wall, and he's on one wall, and she's on the other, and it looks like they're on opposite ends of the wall. Very good symbolism there. Very well shot. I don't really like the extended ending when the hologram of him is talking to her at Bad Wolf Bay. It's just a little too stretched out, a little too mushy, a little too Buffy the Vampire Slayer for me, honestly. But then I love the actual ending when Donna shows up. He's, what? Who are you? What? What the heck am I doing here? What? I love that ending. It's just interesting to see the Doctor that confused. What? I love that. I love that kind of became a thing with him. What? I love that. Next on the list is Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways, because I always think of these two kind of similar together. Again, a nice ending, a good series season ender, one of RTD's best. Part 1 has aged really badly due to all of the pop culture references of the 2000s. It is a little tough to watch, especially since I never got into those shows really anyway. But it still does a good job of setting up the mystery of it. There's some great scenes in there. I love how the Doctor's like, well, I'll tell you what, I'm getting out. And how did she do it? She broke the camera like this? And he knows they're not going to kill him because they went through all that trouble. I love when he's standing up at the disintegrator and he's just like, I like Linda with a Y. The actress playing her, she's so good. I hate that she didn't make it because her and the Doctor have a great rapport. And I like the fact that Rose is a little jealous of that. And I like the fact the Doctor tried to protect her, but the Daleks outthought him. Like when she turns around and sees the Daleks pull up out the window. And I like how you see the lights flash and you can tell they're saying exterminate. Perfect. Perfect. And her execution, when you just see that gust of wind hit her and she screamed, it's perfect. Very well done. The guy who's also winning the weakest link, the black guy, I don't know his name. He's great for playing that character. The actor playing him, he nails that part perfectly. I like at the end when he's just like, where's my money? I want my money. I won the game. I like that. That poor guy. I like the cliffhanger with the reveal of the Daleks and him realizing that Rose is still alive. And his whole no speech, you know, it means no, that Rose, I'm coming to get you. I love that. Great cliffhanger. And then I really like part 2. Just everything coming to a head. The rage on the Doctor's face when he confronts the Emperor. So if anyone's going to stop talking, it's you! I love that. I love that whole bit. Nothing can get through that force field. Almost nothing. Yes, but I wasn't going to tell him that. There's a lot of that I really like. The Emperor Dalek is great. The fact that after setting up the Delta Wave, he can't do it. Especially knowing now all the Time War stuff and the events of Day of the Doctor. One of the reasons why he can't hit that button again. You know, coward every time. I love that. I love the scene when he sends Rose home and the hologram appears. That, especially right at the end when he turns and looks at her because he knows she's going to be there. I love that. That's a beautiful moment. And then it's got a really nice ending. I like his regeneration speech. And it was revolutionary at the time. It's been done to death in Modern Who now. But it was revolutionary at the time for him to regenerate standing up. If you think about it, the Doctor had never regenerated standing up before. He's always been laying down in the classic series when he regenerated. So it's neat to see him regenerate standing up for the first time. Again, they've done it to death in Modern Who now. But at the time, I thought it was revolutionary. And a really neat regeneration effect, which again has been done to death at this point. Next on the list is The Sea Devils. This is a good one. I have not seen the new version yet as of filming this. Hopefully I'll have seen it by the time y'all see this video. But I like The Sea Devils. It's always hard for me to pick between the Sea Devils and Silurians, but Silurians I tend to have higher because I love the ending more. Sea Devils might be better paced though, especially being an episode shorter. First off, I love the Sea Devil design, especially like the face and the head. I think that's a great design. I like their little weapons. I like the little netting they wear. Love having Roger Delgado back as the Master. Again, the GOAT Master. The GOAT. He is just phenomenally good. And I like that we get that little bit of moment when the Doctor does talk about how they used to be friends. You know, a lot of people think that's something maybe they got established more in modern Who. But no, it establishes in classic Who that they were once friends. And you really get one of the biggest examples of that here when he did say, you know, good friends once. You know, we went to school together. So you actually do get that little moment of almost regret in John's voice when he's talking to Joe about how they used to be friends. And I like that. I like the guy who kind of plays the warden of the prison. He's really good. The guy who's the commander on the submarine is really good. I think he's been in other Doctor Who stories. I think he's been in Modern Who even. And I love the fact they actually got the Navy involved, the Royal Navy involved. That was awesome. And I appreciate them taking part in this episode. And then I like the story. I think it's a good story. It's very enjoyable. I think it's the best Sea Devil story we've gotten so far, honestly. Next on the list, and to be fair, I may have this one placed too high. Even I realize that, is Time of the Doctor. I think for only being a one-part episode, it's good. I like it. I like the idea of what kills the Doctor is just old age. He stays so long, you know, like 900 years defending this planet. And so we don't really see that, but he spends what really is a long time, even for him, protecting this planet, watching him grow old. Also, the old makeup on him looks pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. And seeing the bond between him and Clara is really good in this one. I do think his regeneration's a little over the top when it blows up the Dalek ship. I give it a pass because since he is getting a whole new cycle and it's getting reset, that may be linked to it, but it's still a little over the top for me that it's that powerful. That and his actual regeneration just being with, you know, the sneeze, I don't really care for that either. It's different. I will give it that. It's different, but I don't really care for it. I do like his goodbye speech. His goodbye speech is really good. You know, it all disappears, doesn't it? Like breath on a mirror. That whole speech. The bit when he sees Amy is a little much, in my opinion. But other than that, I think it's really good. I like the setting. It's shot well. I like the wooden Cyberman. That's a neat idea. And, you know, the Doctor spinning the cane around. Some of the cinematography in this episode is really, really good. I like some of the humor in it, too. Like when he's naked and she's just like, nope, nope, nope. And he projects the clothes on himself. And then you find out when he goes to meet the family, he hasn't done it to the rest of the family. I think it's creating a little tension. And the bit about when she's trying to cook the turkey, and he's like, what, are you kidding? You'd need a time machine for that. And she looks at him, and he's just like, what? It definitely has some humorous moments in it. Next on the list is The Waters of Mars. This one I place higher more for its reputation than my enjoyment, because I'm not a big fan of The Waters of Mars. It's another one of those, I think it's executed really well on screen. And the story, even the story is good on paper. For some reason, though, I just don't click with it. I can't really explain it to you. I just don't really click with it. The actors who are playing the zombie creatures, just for lack of a better word, the flood, whatever, the actors playing them when they're infected are really good because they have this unnaturalistic movement and look to them. Part of that, of course, is the makeup. But the way they move is very not human anymore. So definitely a compliment to the actors there. They do a good job of when they're transformed. I like the base station. I think Lindsay, is it Lindsay Duncan? Is that her name? The actress playing Adeline. She's great. She's good in this. I understand why she has to do the things she does at the end. I hate that has to happen, but she's protecting the future. Tennant gets some really good stuff here. I love seeing the Doctor in this situation where he just knows that this is one of those rare times where he needs to get out of there. It's a fixed point. He needs to go. Tennant sells that really well. And he's like, I really should go. And then that realization when he realized the Time Lords are gone. He's the only one left. And I can understand why he takes that turn he does with the whole Time Lord Victorious thing for a minute. And Tennant sells that. With him and Lindsay are talking at the end of the episode when they're back on Earth. Both of them sell that scene really well. I love that. I like the idea of a darker Doctor like that who's just been through so much. He's like, I'm the winner. You know, I like that. It's a solid episode, and it's aged pretty well, I think. But for some reason, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know why, because it's solid. Next on the list is, that's right, The Husbands of River Song. I like this one. I rewatched it recently because a reactor was reacting to it, so I caught, again, the Cliff Notes versions of it. I've always liked this one. I like the look of it. Like, I don't know who directed this one, but I love a lot of their choices. The script's good, too. I think it takes a little too long for River to realize who he is. Like, realistically, because she's smart. I think she would have figured it out sooner. But for the purposes of the story, it's funny. I love the bit when the Doctor walks into the TARDIS and he's pretending to be shocked. It's my turn. Oh, it's bigger. I just love how Capaldi decided to play that. Is hilarious. I also like the sign at the beginning, carolers will be criticized. And the whole bit when he finds out she has a husband and he's like, wait, what? That whole bit where she's like, oh, I love you and only you. And he's like, really? And then, of course, we get the little shot of all of the previous Doctors with the little, we haven't seen anybody who looks like this. And the Doctor's like, maybe he's got another face. He has limits. The little red robot looks adorable. I like the fact that it has an almost kid action figure look to it. Like, it doesn't look completely kiddie because it has that kind of lived-in rustic look in a way. But it still wasn't made to look threatening. It looks like an aged kid's toy with an edge to it somehow, like that blade. And how it keeps their head. And then the bit when they're negotiating on the ship for the jewel and they realize everybody else there is not human, it's one of the aliens. You're like, oh, crap. And then watching River realize that he's the Doctor, and that's a lovely scene. And then the ending. I love the ending. The ending doesn't quite fit with Silence in the Library, but it's still a good ending. How long is a night here? 24 years. I hate you. No, you don't. I enjoy that. It's a fun Christmassy episode. Next on the list is An Unearthly Child, the Doctor Who story that started it all in 1963. Now, if I was just judging this by episode 1, the first episode, it would be considerably higher up the list. That would be like top 20 Doctor Who easy. Because that first episode is phenomenal. To imagine in, 25 minutes, whatever the runtime is, it does such a good job setting the show up. And I can only imagine what it must have been like for people who saw this episode when it first premiered, or a week later when it premiered again, because that was right after Kennedy was assassinated. But one of the people who, this was the first episode of Doctor Who they saw when it was originally coming out. Now, what that must have been like. Realizing, all this talk about Susan, and then seeing the junkyard and meeting this old man, and then entering the TARDIS for the first time, and then the explanations going on in the TARDIS, and then them appearing in the cave person walking up. That had to be astounding. Because for most of us, we're never going to quite understand that, because for most people who are watching this episode, it's not their first episode of Doctor Who. They're someone who's already well-versed in Doctor Who, and they're going back to watch this episode because it's the first episode. And so we're already familiar with the show, the concept of the show, the TARDIS, the Doctor, etc., etc. So I imagine what it must have been like for people that this was their first episode. It does such a good job setting everything up. I like all of our principal actors. I enjoy Susan in this one. She's fascinating and very unearthly. I like Ian and Barbara, and the already kind of double-act duo that they are, trying to figure out what's up with this student of theirs. And then William Hartnell's phenomenal as the Doctor in this kind of mysterious old man. And then the TARDIS has this cool look to it, also stepping into a police box and being in this much bigger space. Phenomenally good, that first episode. Now, I enjoyed the other 3 episodes as well, the cavemen stuff. Is it a step down like the Space Museum? Yes, it's a step down. Argue a couple steps down, but it's still enjoyable. It gives us this first bit of time travel where we've gone to the past, and it's nice. The performances are good. It's shot competently well. It's a nice first story to get you invested in the show. Next on the list is the Ambassadors of Death, which I believe is the first appearance of Season 7. Now, the Ambassadors of Death has a really good story. Is it a tad long? Yes. Now, it's not like, I used to say it was a 4-parter crammed in 7 parts. I won't say that's necessarily true anymore. I think you could have done it in 5 or 6 parts, but I think you could have done 6 parts and made it work. I think it's just a little overly long at 7 parts. I love the story. Love the story. I love the fact that the aliens are not the bad guys. The aliens are here on a mission of peace. It's some of humanity who are the bad guys, even though they don't realize they're the bad guys. They think they're doing the right thing. But I like the fact they're the problem, where the aliens are the good guys. The biggest problem with Ambassadors of Death, and that this does affect the ranking, is that 6 of these 7 episodes look rough. Even the Blu-ray restoration looks rough. Because as Peter Crocker has said, there's only so much you can do with that, with the budget available and the time available. Because the versions of the story they have, the original sources they still have for it, for episodes 2 through 7, are just that poor. They're not good, so they have to work with that. And you can really tell with Ambassadors of Death the difference between something on an original master and something not, especially something not that's really from a poor source. When you compare episode 1 of Ambassadors of Death, which is an original master, matter of fact, it's the earliest existing original videotape master in Doctor Who. And you compare it to episodes 2 through 7. One of my favorite things to do when I watch Ambassadors of Death is I watch episode 1, I watch episode 2 through 7, and then I go back and rewatch episode 1, just so I can see the contrast on both sides of it. And it's huge. It's a huge difference. Even the DVD restorations looked rough. The Blu-ray restorations still look rough. In some ways, even rougher. In some ways better, in some ways rougher. The skin tones, for some reason, on the Blu-ray ones are much too red at times. I really noticed it on the professor with the weird accent. It's a little too red. But the restoration work, again, the only way you're going to get it better is with a lot of money and a lot of time that, unfortunately, they just didn't have for that set. Next on the list is Silver Nemesis. I like Silver Nemesis. I think it's an underrated story. Is it like S tier or A tier? No. Solid B tier for me. It's a little crowded, too, with too many villains. But I like the villains. I like the 80s Cybermen. It's always great to have the ever so excellent David Banks back as the cyber leader. The guy playing the Neo guys, let us say, the actors playing them are doing a good job. And then the lady Pennyfort or whatever, and her assistant with her. Both of the actors are performing those parts well, and they're interesting characters. And then the Nemesis itself is a neat concept. Granted, this story is kind of a weaker version of Remembrance. It's kind of the same story, let's be honest, and Remembrance is much better. But I still find this enjoyable. And it's neat with the Season 25 box set. It has like 5 different versions of Silver Nemesis on it. So you can just pick which one you're in the mood in. I mean, you have like the regular version, you have the extended version, you have the version with updated special effects, you have the VHS version, which looks like it came just completely from a VHS tape. And then you have the omnibus version. So you can watch whatever version of it you want. I like it. The music's good. The updated special effects for it look really nice as well. It's fine. I think it's underrated. Next on the list is The Unquiet Dead, what I call the scariest episode of Doctor Who ever made. I have trouble watching this one. It's creepy. A lot of this, I think, first off, I think the story's good. I do like the story. I like the actor playing Charles Dickens in it. He's great. But the people who are basically the zombies in it, again, I call them that for lack of a better term, they play the part well. Part of it's the makeup. Hats off to the people who did the makeup. But again, they have this unnatural way of moving. Like, as humans, somehow instinctively we know when something is off, when something doesn't look right. It's kind of like when they try to recreate a dead actor with CGI and there's something about it that doesn't look right, it doesn't look natural, there's something off. Like Peter Cushing in Star Wars Rogue One or Christopher Reeve in the Flash movie. Not that they really tried that hard there. But anytime they try to bring an actor back a lot of times, you know, Clue in Tron Legacy, although that kind of works for that movie, actually. There's still something, it doesn't look photorealistic, and our mind knows something is wrong. And it's like that here, when you see something that's trying to mimic being human, but it isn't human, it can't mimic it perfectly, we know it. And the actors do a good job at moving, looking, sounding unnatural, that it rises my hackles and makes the hair on my arms stand up. It's utterly creepy. I don't watch this episode much because it just creeps me out. But I like the effects of it. I like the Gelf or whatever they're called and how they manipulate everybody. And then how the Doctor has to solve it at the end. It has a really good ending. It's a solid, creepy episode, especially for Modern Who's first trip in the past. That's a good way to really get people invested, I think. Good Halloween story, too. Next on the list is Doctor Who and the Silurians, the first and best Silurian story we've ever gotten in Doctor Who. I love the classic Silurian design. I'm not too keen on the Warriors of the Deep design, but I hate how they design the Silurians in modern Doctor Who when they look more human. I love this design here. I think, again, the story's a little long. It's 7 parts. You could have trimmed a part out, maybe. I think the cave sets look really good. I do think the little monster thing running around looks a little naff, but I like the Silurian design. I like the sound it makes when they're using their weapon. I don't really like when we see the camera from the view of the Silurians, like their eye view, the point of view, has not aged well for me. That could use some updated effects, honestly. And then how it, partway through the story, switches to them trying to release the plague. And those shots of the plague being released are really well done. Like, they'll hit you. Especially post-2020, in a post-COVID world, they really hit differently. I remember watching this story. I can't remember if it was 2020. It might have been 2021, 2022. And it really hit close to home. When you're seeing, that's some really impressive location work too. When you're seeing people falling down in the subway, out on the streets, you see Jeffrey's character. Oh yes, this has Jeffrey in it. I love when Jeffrey's in Doctor Who. Of course, he's also in the mutants briefly in episode 1, and then he plays the captain in Voyage of the Damned. You guys know who I'm talking about. I always love when he shows up in Doctor Who. And that scene when he dies and he just falls leaning across it, that's really well done. Very creepy looking, especially with the camera kind of looking up at him. The location work for all of that plague stuff, very well done. Excellent cinematography. I wish the film elements survived for that. And it has some good cliffhangers. It does have some really good cliffhangers. We even get the Pertwee stare one time when he's... and the fact that he's trying to reach a peaceful solution where both species can coexist is really well done. Oh, how can I have gotten this far into the episode and not talked about Peter Miles? Once again, love Peter Miles, and I love how he's playing this guy here who just wants to get on with his work. This is a guy dedicated to his work right here. And how every slight inconvenience just gets progressively more and more irritating to him, where you can just see he's bottled up and ready to burst. And so the scene when he's actually infected at the end and he's freaking out, Peter Miles is amazing in that. And then the ending. I love the ending of this story. When the Doctor realizes the Brigadier has blown them up and sealed him, just his reaction to that. That is a phenomenal ending. That is the ending that Warriors of the Deep and Orphan 55 wanted to be and totally failed at being. It works perfectly here. And it's because John, when he's delivering his dialogue, he doesn't feel like Whittaker in Orphan 55, where she's talking to the audience. Like, hey, do you get it? Do you get it? It just feels like he's having a conversation. Part of this is because when the camera's on John, he's looking he doesn't look like he's looking at the camera. He looks like he's looking to the side, like he's looking at the area that just got blown up. And then you understand that he's not talking to the audience, he's talking to Liz. That comes across better. It's just shot better, and it works better. And then that scene when more explosions happen, and you see him look up again like, seriously? And you can tell he's mad, but he's also disappointed. And that even Liz is disappointed, like, And the fact that he's still holding a little bit of a grudge of that at the beginning of Ambassadors of Death, which is the next story. It doesn't last very long, but he does at least give it a mention there. It's a phenomenal ending. Next is The End of Time, parts 1 and 2. I like The End of Time. It really is the end of an era. The 10th Doctor's leaving, Russell's leaving, everybody is leaving. It literally is an end of an era. And it's really that kind of situation where I think a lot of people were wondering if Doctor Who could survive. Can it survive without Tennant? Can it survive without Russell and that whole producer crew? I think it was a big question mark, wondering what Doctor Who would do next. And it really goes out being epic. It's nice that they bring John Sims' Master back. I think he's much better in this story than he was his previous stories. David Tennant is on fire as the 10th Doctor. It's great to see Wilf again. It's nice to see Donna and her mom a little bit again. But Wilf's just, I love Bernard Cribbins. He's so good as Wilf. Timothy Dalton as Rassilon. That is phenomenal casting right there. Great cliffhanger at the end of the story with the Time Lords returning and the Master becoming everyone, basically. It's interesting. And then I like the Cactus People as well. They have good music. I like part 2. I think there's some humorous bits in there. Worst rescue ever. There are some humorous moments in there. You have some serious moments as well between the Doctor and Wilf there. The mysterious woman that keeps appearing. The final confrontation between the Doctor, Rassilon, and the Master is great. Realizing where the 4 knocks come from. Also, a lot of the music in this episode, in this 2-part is phenomenal. Murray Gold knocks it out of the park. I love the music in this story. And thinking that maybe the Doctor had escaped, and then you hear the 4 knocks and you realize it's Wilf. And that whole bit with Tennant, when he realizes and he's so frustrated. And I don't mind that. Some people will get upset that he's so frustrated about regenerating. But you have to remember that the Doctor really liked being the 10th Doctor. He liked that incarnation of himself a lot. Again, he's a very human incarnation. He is. He's one of the most human versions of the Doctor we've ever gotten. In the sense, And I know a lot of people don't like that. That's one of the reasons the 10th Doctor isn't super high on my list. He's more middle of the list. But because he is more human than most doctors, he gets the good and the bad of that. And some of the bad of that is maybe a bit being narcissistic and arrogant and full of himself. He does get some of the negative sides of being a more human doctor. So he is upset. And think about it, the 10th Doctor didn't really get to be the Doctor very long. What, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Not long, compared to a lot of other incarnations that do it for centuries. And he liked being the 10th Doctor. So I can understand his frustration. And David Tennant and Bernard Cribbins play that scene beautifully together. So well together. I like the extending ending, the kind of Lord of the Rings style long ending, with him getting to say goodbye, with it being that kind of drawn out ending. Because I feel like his Doctor earned it. Being the first Doctor that an entire generation really had a chance to grow with, to really get attached to. Because while Eccleston was a lot of people's first Doctor, he was kind of there and gone. They really just started to adjust to him when he was gone. Tennant was the first one they really had a chance to grow with. And in some cases, even grow up with, being there from 2005 to 2010. That's, for some people, that's a huge part of their life, those 5 years. So to get really attached to, that really became their Doctor. And while they understood on some level that the Doctor regenerates and this is a role that gets passed, like passing the torch, this is the first time they ever really got confronted with the reality of that, when it was really staring them in the face. And also knowing the showrunner was leaving. So I like that basically the David Tennant gets to take his victory, well, what would end up being his first kind of victory lap here. I like the drawn out ending. I like him getting to say goodbye. I like his regeneration itself. It's really well done with the music and everything. And I like Matt Smith's first minute or so in the story. I like the end of time. I think it's placed exactly where it should be placed. Next on the list is Shada, the Big Finish audio flash animation with the 8th Doctor. I like it. It's enjoyable. I do prefer the 4th Doctor version of it with the animation, but I like the 8th Doctor version of it. It works in canon because it ties itself in with the events of the 5 Doctors, so it actually makes sense canon-wise why it would be happening. I think the performances from the cast are good. I like the flash animation. Some of the flash animation looks more alien than some of the stuff we get in the 4th Doctor animation. It even looks better. There are times when some of the animation in it, what they do with choices for the animation, the way buildings are animated and stuff, like the way Shada's animated, looks really good. I like the guy playing the professor in it, Chronosis. He actually has a little more to do when they're on Shada instead of getting immediately hit in the head like in the 4th Doctor version. So there are some things I like better about the 8th Doctor audio. I prefer the 4th Doctor version overall. It's considerably higher on the list. But I still really liked the 8th Doctor version of Shada. It was a great listen. It was a great performance. And it works. And it makes sense in canon, actually. They explain it really well. And I'm curious. It wasn't on the season 17 set. It's fascinating to me. For me, that's another almost confirmation that at some point we're going to get a Wilderness Years set, because it's not even, I think, on the UK release of Shada. It was on the US American DVD release, which is, I've actually got it down here. It's out of camera view, but I have the US DVD release, which has that on it, but it's not on like the UK Blu-ray release, which is fascinating. It's not on the season 17 box set. I think that's further proof that if they haven't commissioned a Wilderness Years set, they at least are interested in doing one, in my opinion. Again, there's probably a lot of clearances, and it's probably expensive to do all that, so who knows if we'll get one or not. But I firmly believe the team would like to do one, because they're Doctor Who fans too, and I'm sure they would enjoy doing one if they can make everything work. And next on the list is the Time Monster, which again, probably higher than a lot of people would have it. I like the Time Monster. It's not as good of a season finale as the Daemons is for season 8, or the Demons, whatever you call it. That very much feels like a season finale. Time Monster feels like it wants to be a season finale. The script is there. the execution of the script does not feel like season finale material. Like, they want to pull out all the stops. You got the same director even, but the execution of the story lets it down a bit. This is a story that needs updated effects. I understand why it didn't get them in the season 9 box set. So much of the budget probably went into restoring the episodes. Season 9, of course, is affected by the junking policy and having episodes that are not in their original format. While in better shape than Season 7 and Season 8, of the 26 stories that make up Season 9, only 11 of them are the original masters, 15 of them are from other sources. 6 of those episodes are the Time Monster that are available from other sources. So a lot of the money probably went towards restoration, which is the right thing to do. And they do look really good. They do look really good on the Blu-ray. But this is a story, I think, that would benefit heavily from some updated special effects. The realization of Kronos as the little bird thing just looks naff. It just does. It looks naff. And then when they meet the female version of her at the end, that just looks like you're tripping 70s style or something. It's trippy. It's trippy. It looks weird. It's... Come on, willing suspension of disbelief. You can do it. The story's good. I actually enjoy the actual story of Kronos, the being, the master trying to control it, even though he should know better. Going to Atlantis, that's pretty cool. It's a shame the sets for Atlantis are okay, but not stellar. Love the king, though. The king is definitely a king. That guy. Love the guy playing the king. When the master tries to hypnotize him, the king's just like... And then the master's like, I won't tell you anything. Or, I won't say anything. The king's just like, you haven't said anything already. You haven't told me anything yet. I love that. I love the king. And, of course, Ingrid Pitt is great. Of course, Ingrid Pitt's costume designer is also great. The one woman who's a bit... the woman scientist who has a bit of a chip on her shoulder against men is funny, honestly. A bit annoying at times, but funny. We get a nice little Terry Walsh cameo, which I like, with him on a ladder. Always great to see Terry in there. And some of the effects, like them being frozen in motion and then running like that works. That part actually works for me. I think John's putting in a great performance. I think Roger's putting in a good performance. Katie, of course, our regular crew. I like the performances. I like the story. The execution of the story effects-wise really hurts it. Some of the sets are just kind of middle of the road for me. Not necessarily bad, not very good. The execution of it just doesn't live up to the story itself. It does not feel like a season finale. But I don't think it's the dumpster fire some people do. I still enjoy it because the story is good. And if this ever got updated effects, I think a lot of people would appreciate it more. Next on the list is the Star Beast, the 4th Doctor Audio Big Finish version. I like this one more because it's fleshed out. It doesn't have to fit into a TV time slot. Big Finish can kind of make it as long as they want, really. And I enjoyed it. Tom Baker's in good form. The guest cast are in good form. Beat the Meep is in good form. It makes a little more sense. You understand why the little black hole thing in the ship controls people now. You understand why the Meeps are evil. You get a lot more backstory. I also like the Wraith Warrior voices. The voices for them are hilariously funny and done really well. I like that. It's just... And it doesn't have those few cringy moments that the TV version does, because there's a couple of them in there, let's be honest, and those aren't in the audio version. And plus, I just prefer Tom Baker over David Tennant doing it. But mostly, it's this much higher because it is a good story. It's a lot more fleshed out. Thus, it makes a lot more sense. Next on the list is The Well, a nice Shurigatwa episode from Season 2. I enjoyed this one. It has another good horror episode. It has a good feel to it, a good atmosphere to it, good tension to it. I think the incidental music is good. I like the costumes. I like the color grade. I like the directing. I think it's directed really well. I like the performances from our main cast and our guest cast. The actress, Rose, is that her name? I can't remember if that's the actress's name or the character's name, but the one who is deaf and talks in sign language, who the actress is in real life. She's great. This episode would not have worked if she hadn't been cast so well, but she's fantastic in this. I like the idea that they have the button they can press on their screen that says what they're saying, and how even nurses in the future, all of them are required to know how to sign. I like that. That's neat. Belinda still is a good, decently well written character in this episode, which I like. And then it ties in with another Doctor Who episode really well. I buy it. It doesn't mess with the legacy of that original episode. It works as a continuation of that very, very well. And the scene when the Doctor realizes what he's dealing with is expertly done. I love the music, the sound effects there, the cutback, the flashback. I like all of that. That was perfect for me. I loved that scene. The ending is the bit when he has the liquid cause the reflections pretty cool. I don't really care for the ambiguous ending. Like, did the one woman die for nothing? Was it on her? It should have been on her. Because we see the whoosh as it goes by behind her, and the other people had left, even though there's 4 lights on instead of 3. Was there more than one creature? I don't like the ambiguous ending. I get why they did it, and it works. I don't like it. But the rest of the episode, I think, is pretty good. Next on the list is the Paradox Planet and Legacy of Death. This is a Big Finish audio that was actually sent to me by Robert. I like this one. This is a 4th Doctor story with the Doctor and Romana too, and it very much feels like it slots right in season 17. It's got season 17's sense of humor. You could easily picture Douglas Adams writing something like this. The Doctor ends up on a planet that's in the middle of a war, but it's the future of the planet at war with the past of the planet. So you have 2 different time zones at war with each other. That's an ingenious idea. Also, to lean more into season 17, the actor who played Duggan in City of Death actually voices one of the characters in this story. It's not Duggan, it's someone else, but he voices like a professor in the story, just to add a little more season 17 feel to it. And it's humorous in places. It's got some neat cliffhangers. It also has K9 in it. It takes some twists and turns and does some timey-wimey things with him going back to the future and the past. And it's clever. It's clever, it's fun, it's enjoyable. I recommend it. Next on the list is Dragonfire. Again, one that's arguably maybe a little higher than it needs to be. But you guys know I like Dragonfire. It's a great introduction to Ace. I actually like the story. I think the sets look really good. I love the sets for this story. We have Glitz back. You guys know I love Glitz. Glitz is awesome. You shouldn't like Glitz because he does do terrible things in this story. But Tony plays him as this lovable rogue so well, this kind of Han Solo type, the way he plays the character, that you still want to root for him. And it's a little odd that the Doctor lets Mel go off with him, considering what he did to his crew. But again, it's Glitz. He's got that charisma and charm somehow that Glitz really shouldn't have, but Tony gives him, and I love that. The guest cast are good. I mean, we have Lady Stevens herself from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. She's great. Patricia's fantastic. The guy playing Kang is really, really good. The scene when he dies is pretty well done. Very Raiders of the Lost Ark there. Pretty impressive for classic Doctor Who. And then the fact that he planned all that revenge for it to be pointless was pretty interesting. I like this one. Yeah, you got the cliffhanger, the literal cliffhanger. That doesn't make sense because of the way they shot it and edited it. But other than that, and also the fact we have an alien that's benign, that's not an evil alien. It's very obviously a riff on a xenomorph, but a Doctor Who budget riff on it. But that it's not, the twist being, it's not evil, it's benign. I like that. It's a good little twist. Good story, Dragonfire. Next on the list is Klein's story. Now this is an extra story in the Klein trilogy. There's technically 4 stories in the Klein trilogy, but Klein's story is kind of a bonus mini episode because it's just one part and it only lasts somewhere between 20, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. And it's basically Klein informing the Seventh Doctor of how she got the TARDIS to work and how she managed to travel back in time. Because Klein is from a future where Germany won World War II. She's one of those Germans. And she's trying to explain how she traveled back in time to World War II during the events of Colts, which is another great audio that's further up on the list. And it's really neat. This story not only has Sylvester McCoy in it, it also has Paul McGann. And it's really clever as the Doctor listens to her fill in the story of how the Seventh Doctor was actually gunned down. You were shot and killed, even if they didn't recover your body. Anyway, I met a guy, and whatever the guy's name is, it's like the German version of John Smith. And then during the flashback, she's talking with the guy. That's very obviously Paul McGann voicing him. And at the end of it, there was the Doctor, I should say, the mysterious guy, which is basically the Eighth Doctor, an alternate version of the Eighth Doctor, as they're being almost shut down while they're working on the project, rushes her into the TARDIS and leaves. And the Seventh Doctor, who's figured out what's going on, tells her what happens, and she gets quite miffed about it. But it's it's told really well. The actress who voices Klein, she's really good in the role. Both versions of Klein, the original German version and the later, I guess, British version. She's a really good voice actress and does a really good job with Klein. And I like this story, especially with the short runtime. It did a good job of giving us the backstory on who she was. And next on the list is The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. This is a great season opener. It really does. Part 1 gets you really invested because there's a lot of mysteries going on here. The Doctor's 1103. When did that happen? Him and River seem more close together. Suddenly he gets killed before he can regenerate. And then his body's burned. And then the Doctor shows up, but it's a younger version. Okay. Interesting. And then we meet Canton Edward Delaware III, or whatever order that goes in. And we meet the old version of him, then we meet the younger version of him. And I like the actors playing both, but especially the actor playing the younger version of him, which I think in real life they're father and son. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think they are. The actor playing the younger version of him, I've seen him in other stuff. I know he was in Battlestar Galactica. Really good actor. One of the reasons I like this two-parter, just the way he plays the role and his kind of sense of humor. I like that bit when after he's been in the TARDIS, he's just like, I like your wheels. It's like, if you give me 5 minutes, and he's just like, 5 minutes? Well, you can trust these guys, who let him in, or you can trust him who actually snuck in. I like all of that. I really like him as a character. Would love to have him come back. Also, the ending when Nixon's like, I think the moon's far enough. That's pretty funny. The moon's far enough for one day. That whole exchange is a bit humorous. The Silence are an interesting concept. And the fact that it also works on Time Lords is interesting. That as soon as you look away from them, not only do you forget seeing them, you forget you ever saw them. Like everything of it's completely erased permanently. Well, not permanently. Until you see them again and it comes back. And that keeps happening. The scene when they go to the old orphanage and it's been happening to the guy for so long, it's messed with his head. It's shot really well. A lot of the cinematography and camera angles used here, the lines on the face, which used to annoy me, just kind of add to the dread. When they look, and next thing I know, they're all over them, and it's flashing, and they don't remember any of it. And then I like the ending. Of course, the mystery with the girl is interesting. Her regenerating sets up another mystery box. We're like, what's going on here? And then, the ending of how he traps them using the broadcast, because so many people are watching the landing on the moon broadcast. I feel like that is ingenious, and it works, and I like that, and it's clever. So, I just feel like it's a really good two-parter. One of the highlights of Series 6 for me. I'm not a big Series 6 fan, but I liked this two-parter a lot. So, I think that's it for this segment. I want to know what you think of this video today, the episodes we've talked about, what you think of the list so far. Comment down below and let's talk about it. All the other fun stuff The P.O. box is down there. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, Season 22 and Season 2 should be coming in the standard collection. By the time y'all see this, they should be here. Barring U.S. mail. Pulls a fast one. But those should be here. Love getting these standard sets. I think I just need 17, 24, 20, and 15 now. And I'll have all the ones they've released so far. Super excited about that. I also have a link to the Amazon wish list down there. The Amazon UK wish list down there as well. Link to the Patreon is down there if you would like to support me on that. That does help keep the mortgage paid, the new mortgage. Oh, so fun. So much fun. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Androzani Major, Unknown 289, Finn Perkins, and Colin Coney. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.